Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined once more by Dave for a very special video. I say that a lot. This one legitimately is a special video. This video is going up on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. All of that sort of stuff. It is Star Wars Day. There's a lot happening. The Phantom Menace is back in cinemas for the first time, not since 1999, for the first time since 2012 when it had the lovely 3D release. Something I remember very, very fondly. And it's going to be one of them weekends. We've got some new animated stuff. We've had a Bad Batch finale in the week. We've got Tales of the Empire this week. And there's been a lot of Lego sets being released because it's May the 4th. There's always sets. It's the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. It's the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars. And we thought to ourselves, why not use this time to do a special video on Lego Star Wars? And in fact, we'll talk about the origin of this video soon. But I am joined by Dave, who I've very rudely not spoke about for a minute. How are we doing tonight?
Really well, thank you very much. It's lovely to be here on May the 4th. I just love this time of year when we start getting little nods and things. Obviously, normally a few surprises to come, so who knows what we're going to get throughout the day. If we're going to, as this goes out, we may have had some new trailers, things like that. Obviously, with Acolyte's only a month away as we sit here right now, and so May the June 4th, I believe that drops. So we're literally a month away. So hopefully, we'll get some more information on that. If you've seen the Phantom Menace, you'll have already probably seen the extra bit of Acolyte that's on there. And of course, Lego shopping. What's not fun about Lego shopping on May the 4th? Just new sets galore, and it's going to be lovely to add to an ever-growing Lego collection.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting with this that we are pre-recording this on the Thursday. I've took a risk. I've ordered all my Lego sets online. And I say this is a story. I did this at midnight on May the 1st. I've got to talk about May the 4th sales. This week, I don't know if you've noticed this, I've had more May the 4th emails than ever before. And it's almost not comparing it to Black Friday, but they just seem to now start doing it earlier and earlier and earlier. And I'm like, can you not just do it on May the 4th? Like, I went into Sainsbury's, they had reduced sets. I'm like, but why do you need that on April the 30th? Lego, May the 1st. Why May the 1st? Why not May the 4th? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out on the basically the Lego Battle Droid carrier. That's not the only set I wanted, but when that was announced, I was like, that is unfortunately what I also need. And you can't risk the wait. I'd be gutted if I went into London on Saturday and it's all sold out, and
Yeah.
that would ruin what will be a great day. A lot of Star Wars things planned in London. I'll talk about that another time. But we are here going to be going through the 25 sets we need Lego to make, and we say this in a really interesting way. We're not just shouting, "Make this, make this, make this." Technically, we are actually saying, there's the money. And May the 4th, it's a very expensive time of year. We're recording this on the eve of Star Wars Celebration tickets. So
Wow. Yeah.
good luck to people if you got them. If you didn't get them, has it even sold out? We don't know because we're pre-recording it and it's in Tokyo next year. So that's another stressful thing to come later tonight at the time of recording. But we are going to be talking about these sets, and I guess I should explain a little bit more. I mentioned there's an origin to this video. We like to do things with May the 4th on this channel. We've done it most years. We've done a Star Wars month. The goal was to do another Star Wars month for leading up to the Acolyte, 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace. There is still going to be some Star Wars videos coming this month. We just haven't locked in the schedule and what they are going to be officially. But there will be a couple more Star Wars videos, especially probably on the actual anniversary of the Phantom Menace too. And I sort of saying, Dave, why don't we do a video this month about like 10 Star Wars sets we want to like get made? 5 each. That'd be a nice little video.
Easy.
And
Yeah.
then it's like, how about 15? And then it hit to today, and I was like, it's the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars, so why not 25?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think I kind of knew we'd have a few crossovers. We've got each other's lists. It's not a countdown of 25 to 0. We've literally just picked 25 sets. We've tried to organize it to maybe keep eras or themes together. But this discussion may go a little bit, not pear-shaped. There might be
Who
a time where
knows?
we talk about something and it's like, hey, this isn't actually a Lego set. This could be something else to do with a Lego set. So there will be a few other things. And I guess where we kickstart is actually not even Kickstarter list. I need to obviously plug the socials. At this point in time, if you want to get us on social media, linktree.com/cinemasavvy is the place to go. It has Facebook, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram, all of that sort of stuff. A Redbubble store is in the link as well in the description. I mentioned there's a lot more Star Wars stuff. Social media, we announce all the Star Wars stuff. And obviously, Lego is a thing we all enjoy building. It's a great hobby. If you think it's expensive, yes, it unfortunately has got expensive. But this is the time of year to get the sets you want, eye them up, get them cheaper. you do get good sales. So I'm not encouraging people to spend money, and it isn't like an elitism. Look at the hundreds of pounds we could spend. It'd be a lot better for our wallets if they don't make any of these sets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or just make them cheaper. It's never a fun time to go out and spend hundreds of pounds on Lego and then try to sneak them in the house and then pretend you've had them for years and they're older sets. Like what? No, I'd never do that. No, never do that.
I can't wait for the delivery of when the next ones come. And it's like, what all of these? Like, well, half these are freebies, and they just won't believe me, but that's an actual fact. But yeah, and I guess where we'll kickstart with today's one. This isn't a cheat, but we kind of knew heading into this, and I guess we can talk about Lego Diorama. I'd say me and you spoke about this at length off camera before. Like, I think Lego Diorama hasn't saved Lego. That's a ridiculous statement. Lego's
No,
fine, but Lego has catered to the adult audience now. I call it the black
very much.
boxes,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like they're fully accepted. I mean, okay, kids want Lego, but is a 4-year-old kid need a Lego Pac-Man arcade for like £400? No, he doesn't. You don't
No.
need to pretend you're buying it for your child anymore if you want it for yourself. And I think Lego has embraced that adults buy it more, build it more, enjoy it more as a hobby.
Yeah.
And where that has invented or come forward to me at least was the Lego diorama sets. You get a great quote. They've done a lot of. I'm looking at my Indiana Jones set there. I've got a Star Wars set there. And to me, that was the moment when they decided, okay, these play sets that people like to have, we're just going to dress them up a bit nicer and sell them to collectors. But it's actually going to look so much better on display because they're not going to play with them. They are display pieces. They are scenes from films. They are behind the scenes from films. And me and you kind of got chatting, and I think we knew this was going to happen. We've definitely spoke about it before.
Yeah.
It's not a cop out, but the first 8 of our picks are technically um, Lego. We don't even call these dioramas, are we? These are like their own range, but would be dioramas. We're calling these like the Lego duels, and
That's
they're
copyright me and George. If anyone has picked that up from Lego, the Duel series.
yeah, it's locked in for us. And people may be thinking, okay, we know where we're heading with this, and we've got 8 sets we're going to talk about. Let's go. If you want to pick up the first one, so for obvious reasons, you've got, and also we're pre-recording this, so I hope the editing works. We're going to try and put some nice photos up, and we'll see how that goes. But first up, Dave, do you want to talk about the very first pick, which we knew
Yeah, I
would be
mean,
on the list?
was absolutely going to make the list, especially this weekend of all weekends for it to come up for pick number 1 of Duel series. It's the Duel of Fates. Now, I always pictured in my head like we have these sets, as you say, these collector sets that are coming out now, and like we've both got the Throne Room, which is a beautiful set. The smaller version they've made down for the diorama looks amazing. So I'm thinking that sort for these Duel series, that sort of scale, a setting from a film that you get the 3 minifigures of this one would be your Qui-Gon, your Darth Maul, and your Obi-Wan. You don't need any more than that. And obviously that's up to you how you then display them within that setting. So it could be either when the doors open at the Naboo, where the Naboo
The
fighters are
palace.
parked, yeah, at the palace, or it could be inside of where the generators are. So it's going to be picked where it is, but certainly that's how Duel Series should be. It should be a scene, and you get the figures that you want to put, and then you display them exactly how you want them posed, and then put them away and have them looked at and look beautiful on your shelf. It's all about them setting you a background that you can make your own. Like the sets that for that one, like the throne room. I have Vader on the floor, leaning against the back of the thing,
Okay.
so with his hand removed, like Luke's taking it off with the Emperor coming down the steps. So I've got that. Yeah,
I have the very
of
traditional.
course.
Do you know the Emperor laugh? Well, he's not really laughing, is he? But the cross blades
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is what I kind of. I mean, I picked up people talking about sets. I mean, the retail of this is £91, and I really wanted it last year, and I didn't want to pay that if I'm honest. I've had chances to buy it over the last year and I haven't, but then I saw it at Smith's reduced to 67.50,
yeah,
25% off. It started a lot earlier than the rest of the sales I'm going to add, but again, bargain price, and to me, this epitomizes what these diorama sets
yeah.
can, should, and will be. And the moment I saw this one made last year for episode 6, I was like, Lego, you now need to do all 9 films.
Just go
That's
through.
literally it.
Yeah,
Do one each, do one per film, and kind of this is what we're sort of doing ish
yeah.
with this. And you mentioned Duel of the Fates. I'll go for the second one. It's not as good as Duel of the Fates, but if you can envision having 9 or 10 or 11, or you add in other ones per film to this,
Yeah.
you have Attack of the Clones. And as much as you want to say, oh, you can do Yoda, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Dooku, this one probably just easy, just to have Yoda versus Dooku, another Master versus Apprentice, get the ship in the background behind them. Again, you're building a scene, you're building a visual image for people at home to display.
Yeah.
And if you are picking one from episode two, I think just on the fact it's two different people we probably won't see in theory, like the main duel of this film, I'd actually say is that.
Yeah.
Even though you Anakin you got Obi-Wan, on all the I remember the trailer, Yoda moves his
Open
cloak,
up the air,
the
yeah.
thing whips out. It was the moment. Dooku with the curved lightsaber. It would be a great one for episode two.
Absolutely would
It's an
be.
obvious one, and I wonder what. I mean, let's be honest. There's about a million different episode three lightsaber duels, but Dave, what do you think episode three's is?
I mean, for episode three, Anakin versus Obi-Wan has to be the duel. It's just the main one that I would have. But then again, if it's going to be Mustafar, it's got to be there. Where you would set it, you probably would look at that iconic clashing of the wave of lava behind them, or do you have Obi-Wan on the high ground? Do you have a little crusty Anakin trying to claw his way up the bed? So that's how you could say it. Depends on which area they gave you. Really does. Could be anywhere in Mustafar, in the factory, in the getting it all set in Mustafar, but or is it on the river of lava? Is it
You
on
could have
the
like a
bad
series within a
boat?
series now.
Oh, honestly, there's so much choice and so many options that you could have with each one. You just want to kind of set a nice standard where, again, it's all about like a collector getting it home, getting it put together, and going, "That's how I want it." Or the next day, you go, "You know what? I'm going to change the characters up. They're going to do a different thing." For it's so easy just to change a character like a little Lego figure. There's not much possibility to them, so you can just have them whichever you want. You've got so many little parts you can pick out, but for this first one in episode three, for me, yeah, it had to be the Mustafar battle, as would be amazing to have.
No, I get that. And talking about the next, I'll hand this over to you because you picked this, and I'm not gonna lie, it did catch me off guard, but in a good way. So we're not going to go episode four just yet, and we obviously, let's be honest, we'll just say the obvious. We haven't included episodes 5 and 6 purely on the basis that we've just shown you the throne room set, which is literally what they all need to be. And episode five, in my head, they did the anniversary set in
I've got the
2020.
Bespin
You've
Duel
got that
set.
Bespin
Yeah,
duel
I've got
set.
that set that came out. Yeah,
For the sake of this list, I said they don't need to do a new one. But for the sake that it was limited edition, and you've got a very, very great set that's very
yeah,
rare, they probably could do it again, but they probably wouldn't do the bridge. They'd probably do the Cloud City Chamber, I
yeah,
reckon.
yeah.
But sorry to detract, but it gives
That's
us
all
a bit
right.
more flexibility. And what's the next one, Dave?
Weirdly, it came up because when I first started thinking about the Duel series, I didn't think of a span of all the movies. At first, I literally in my head thought Vader and Obi-Wan, so the times that they clashed. So that was in my thought process that you'd have an episode three, you always have the episode four. But then I thought, well, I really enjoyed the Kenobi clash in the series Kenobi, and I just think for now there's not much in terms of background because they're on a rock planet, but I just think the opportunity to then have Vader with a cracked helmet and a broken front board and having a display with that those two coming together on there, for me it just, if I was building a series and there was maybe a choice of a lot of sets but you had a characters you could follow, that was my thought. So you follow Kenobi and Vader through their three main battles as Anakin and Obi-Wan. Then from the Kenobi series, I just think it would look a really nice. You could put them next to each other on a shelf, telling that story. It's all for me about looking around my room and looking at the models I have and going, "Oh, that it's a lovely story piece." That's what I love about these diorama sets. That you just moments that are picked out of the movie in this Lego creation. Just that's just there in front of me. I love it.
And I think as well, something we've not really spoke about, and I don't know if you saw this new announcement. There's going to be a Lego Galaxy set, and it's like an
Oh,
art
I
wall
didn't. No,
piece.
no.
It genuinely looks incredible. But what Lego can do now is even with dioramas, if they wanted to like, I forgot the film term for it. Back in the day of the matte paintings,
Yes, yes, yeah.
Lego could almost do something like that if they want, if they really wanted to. They probably could.
Yeah.
I know the trash compact set sort of got it with the door, and that's a great one. That's one I should have picked up but never did. Um, but that's something you could easily do with that Kenobi one. And kind of
Yeah.
sticking with this one, you have obviously one of the most famous duels in Star Wars, the one that started it all,
Yeah.
Kenobi versus Vader, the first time, final time, etc., etc. That would look great
Yes,
immediately
it
as a
would.
set. They could
Yeah,
do what they want. They wouldn't even need to put the Millennium Falcon that side. Again, that would just be probably end up being a giant sticker. You could shoot it from the way around, or you could
yeah.
have Luke on top of the pit with those two in their background. It's one that strange. If I don't think that's ever been made as a set, and I'm
Not
very
not an
surprised.
indoor of the hangar. No, I think it is one that seems to scream that it would be not even like a difficult build set, not something that would be hard to put the pieces together for. It seems really obvious, and I don't know if that's something that maybe now they're doing more of these that they might have sort of plans for like, well, now we're creating these movie scenes, let's just start picking moments. Let's just pick screen grabs off the reel, and we'll make something towards that. So hopefully we'll get sort of more of these down the line. I think certainly now getting things like the Tantive corridor, so we are starting to get a few more like more and more moments, which is just works for this set and this series. And I just think, yeah, that battle would be incredible to have. Say if that was again, as I said, that dual series and it was all together. If you could have those three, and you could probably find a way of just push them so they all connected, I think it would look wonderful. I really do.
No, I'm with you on that, and kind of sticking with these. I'm talking about something I haven't spoke about during COVID. I not got back into Lego. You remember the Lego projects where I basically took all the childhood sets I built,
Yeah, yeah,
restored them, spent a lot. This is pre. I didn't even know this. Lego changed their paint codes in like 2003 or something, so it's even harder to get bricks from before then. But it was almost all done. I think there's like I'm still missing like one piece from one set because it was like a tenner and no one had it in stock, and the company wouldn't let me do it at a minimum spend of 100. And I was like, jog on, can't barter with them. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was a great project.
It
And
was an
whilst I
amazing
was
few
doing that,
days. I just want to say, like, literally, obviously, people aren't privy to this, but obviously, George was in the garage going through these sets and literally just pinging Messenger. And every now and again, you just see this old set come out, this picture, which is like, oh my God, that's so good. Oh, that's even better. It was an amazing day just watching the discoveries of what was there.
it was a lot of fun. And the downside, it kind of got me buying Lego again.
Yeah,
And I bought loads when Rogue One came out, and then I sold them all when I was like struggling, which it helped massively. I'm
yeah,
gonna say, and that's another thing. Lego people, you got ROI, you got return on investment. I
yeah.
genuinely mean that. It will always sell. And I bought loads of these sets. Jewel of the Fates mentioned earlier, they did a set in like 2012. I spent £40 on that, and I ended up selling it for probably the same price like 2 years later. But I was buying all these sets because I was like, I want all the jewels, and then the dioramas were invented, and that's when I started selling them. I was like, no, no, get rid of them now because diorama's going to come eventually. I think that would have been around the time of Bespin made, no, after Bespin. There must have been something. The first diorama, I
There was
can't
a
remember what
couple
the
of. I think the
first
very first one I remember, they did a like
trash
Comic Con
compactor.
exclusive. It was actually it's Han in the detention area where he speaks into
Oh
the. They did
yes,
a
yes, it
tiny
was
little set at Comic Con, and you could never get it. I tried, and I've seen like
San
the
Diego, wasn't
builds on
it? It
it.
wasn't even
Yeah,
a
yeah, it was.
celebration.
So yeah, oh yeah, it was a Comic Con exclusive, and I think that was the first time I ever saw something in just a small scale, one figure in a little setting. I was like, oh, that's stunning, and I think that's where it kind of built from. But that's the first one I remember seeing in that kind of format.
Yeah, was there a solo one after? Sorry, I'm stretching my brain back now to all the Lego exclusives. There was something for solo,
There
maybe
was a
not a
solo
diorama, but there was
figure I
something.
remember, just like an
There was something,
exclusive
wasn't there?
minifigure. It's been there's been so much that's kind of come
Yeah,
out.
no, that's jogging the memory. But yeah, so I bought loads of these sets, and then I started selling them when the dioramas. I think it would have been Trash Compactor, Luke on Dagobah, and the first Trench Run because those three were announced together, and I was like, right, start selling. I did that with Disney Infinity. I remember being at Star Wars Celebration 2016. Sorry to go off point. And there was a lad from Lucasfilm who was with us in the queue. I don't even. Oh, you were with me in that queue. The first night,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't even remember. There was just a really nice Lucasfilm guy who was just chatting to everyone all night. And he said to me, he's like, they're going to shut the servers in Disney Infinity. It's going to be announced in the next 3 months. And I literally went to CEX the week after Celebration, sold them all and got a really good amount for it all. And then about a month later, it was true. They announced Disney
Yeah.
Infinity had been pulled, and then all the values sky plummeted. So I guess that's technically insider trading, which is illegal. But
I won't tell.
anyway,
I won't tell if you don't. You'll be fine.
getting back to where I was, a set I picked up I loved was just a simple one, Duel on Starkiller base, and this is the obvious one. Again, yes, we're including the sequels because they are the sequels. A
Yes.
great scene, Chuck Finn in as well. You've got the rocks, you've got the trees. This would look great as a set.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with the environment. The small set was great. It was one of those £20 sets. I don't think they
Yeah,
do
yeah.
£20 sets anymore. But
God,
again,
if only.
there's a lot. So I'm sorry as I nabbed your turn as well. Sorry.
All
But
right.
do you want to do the next one?
Yeah, so I think the next one that we have is Snoke's Throne Room. Now, this did come out.
It
Well,
was a set. It came out
when
with The Last Jedi
yeah, when it
about a
came
year
out.
after.
Yeah, but it is quite a big set. You got a few Praetorian guards with it. Obviously, you got Rey and you got Kylo in there, and obviously Snoke as well. And I had that set, and I had Snoke in half, blue tacked
Yeah,
to the bottom of the floor. So it's just that kind of thing. But I think again, if you're gonna do this, it just needs scaling just that little bit more to take it so you get the main pieces and a little area, or just so it's just more contained. So I think what these things need, I think all of them, if you're doing more of these, is a footprint. So they all have the base tends to be in the same footprint. Yes, sometimes you're
yeah.
going to have to go a little bit outside it, but to keep
You
as
can have like a
close as
square.
possible. Yeah, yeah. But again, that was actually a really nice set. There was a lot to it that probably didn't need. It had like the back door on there, then the throne. But yeah, it was a really really nice set.
It was like a circle, a bridge, lines, bridge.
Yeah,
Again, I remember it, and I really enjoyed that set. And again, when the dioramas happened, I'll be honest, we're probably not going to get any sequel stuff for a while. Not in a rude
yeah.
way,
No,
but
no, but
like
it's
the
just the trend.
prequels,
Yeah,
time will settle down, and eventually this stuff will start coming out more and more. But there may be pit theories. There's so many on here, but yeah, that's one of the set ideas. And then rounding out, I guess, this small series, the first batch on this video. And number 8, again, it's episode 9. I know you have the choice. You've got, do you go for the Emperor on Exegol hanging off his chair? But the Death Star wreckage, Jewel, I love that. Again, it's a small one. You wouldn't need a lot. I'd actually do this in the actual throne room just for the continuity sake of having the episode 6 throne room. And I like how that starts. I like it's a great duel. I don't know why no one talks about it. I know they're not the same as the prequels, but the duels in the sequel trilogy are so fucking good.
yes, they are.
Because they are boiled down to one ethic that it is literally two people trying to kill each other, and that's
Yeah,
why they work so well. And people don't clock that. I'm not criticizing the prequels. I'm not criticizing the sequel duels. They each work for the eras and environments
yeah,
they're in.
very much. Yeah, yeah.
And the sequels duels don't get enough credit. They are fantastic. But segueing away from the dual series, because that's like a core 9. Like if you
Just a little.
again,
Yeah,
if you've got the episode 6 set and you can picture having like 9 of these in a row, that would look amazing if they ever did it, and it would be expensive, but it'd probably be actually incredibly well worth it.
yeah. That would be a lovely lineup if you could, even if they picked one from each movie
Yeah,
and just push them together. So you had this big long line of scenes. I think it would look
or
incredible.
3
All
rows
little,
of 3 for each trilogy as well.
just just like 20 sets from each film. Just give us just give us more.
Oh, it'd
Take
be
my
great.
money, Lego. Take my money.
But talking of taking money,
Yeah.
the next pick is on your list. You still kind of make this a point, right? No, we'll make it an option, like because this is something we both spoke about. But do you want to talk about? I guess we're on to
Yeah.
number 9 now.
We are, yeah. So I mean, this for me is quite a biggie now. Since we've started getting sets that are the diorama sets that I'm a really big fan of, and some of the MIDI scale stuff. What I've found myself doing now is when I get a set, I like to buy a display case for it. That's how I want them set. So I hate. There's one thing in life I hate more than anything, more than most things. Trying to dust Lego. I had the UCS Millennium Falcon and I had it on display
Yeah.
for a long time, and that thing picked up dust. Now I recently sold it. It was time to move it on. It's too big for my office. I needed the space more than anything. So I sold it, but I took it apart, and the amount of dust I had to take off that as I took it apart was unreal. So I love the display cases that are out there that are available. But with that comes cost. Now, my thing for this is I personally I've used Wicked Brick for all of the cases that I have. I think I've got 4 now and that are done by Wicked Brick, and their cases are phenomenal. They are come flat packed, they are made to order, so they do take a bit of time getting to you, but when you get them, really easy to put together, and look incredible. I know there are other companies. I think Boxco is one of the other big ones that are out there. I'm getting a lot of emails from them. Now, my only issue now is probably cost, and I think yes, it's perspex, and I know this can be quite expensive. But I recently bought the Executor Superstar Destroyer mini set, but I'm tending to hold things in boxes at the moment until I have a display case to put in, just to stop the dust from getting to it. Now, currently, to buy the Executor, you can get. I got mine for $59.99, and currently, I think if you're watching this over the weekend, Smiths in the UK are doing it for $49.99, so an even better bargain because I believe it's going to retire it then this year as well. So make note of that. But the case to put it in is nearly £70, which is just to actually now have to buy a set. And yes, you don't have to put it in that, David. You don't. You can leave it as it is. I don't want to. I want to display, but I think having to pay more for a box that it's going to go in to keep it clean and dust free is just excessive. And my thought, really, the pattern behind my thought was, I wonder if one day Lego might see how popular these are becoming, and certainly the money that can be made from having collectors come in there, buy sets, and also buy a case to put in at the time. If that is something that Lego might eventually think, we could bring that in house and do that. We can produce plastic bricks. I'm sure we can produce perspex. I'm sure we can create a base. Sure, we can package these things out at the same time. Go, you want that? You can buy the case as well. If you're a collector, double our money up or a little bit less because we're Lego and it's in house. But yeah, it's kind of a bugbear because I love it so much when they're in those cases, but it makes the hobby twice the price as it would normally be.
I'm the same. I've ordered my first one recently. I've got a Dune Lego Dune Ornithopter. This is the sort of I nodded in agreement. I was like, yeah, I've not opened mine too until my case comes. But I'm actually bought the wall mount, and it looks. This was what was ridiculous, and I really do like Wicked Brick, and they were at Celebration last year. They did a Lego Dune wall mount, and it's limited edition, and it sold out in like 5 minutes. And I missed it because I've never seen a sold out Wicked Brick set before. Well, a case. And it was they're like, oh, we're going to do a stand, people, and everyone was just Facebook like commenting like, no, we don't want a stand, we want a mount. And it looked fantastic because if you've seen Juno, it's like having a giant bug on the wall. And they just made it to order normally, so I've ordered it, and it's been 5 weeks now,
Yeah,
and I'm still waiting. And when it comes, I will build the set, and then I can put the wall mount up, and I'm sure it will look fantastic.
yeah.
But I'm the same as you. It's expensive, and I see these lovely, lovely cases. And the Falcon you brought up, I was going to buy it last year, and I remember going to the celebration, having a chat. Like the case is about £300. I'm like, I can get away with that because it's the display piece of display pieces for
Yeah.
Star Wars. And I was like, it's going to go on top of a wardrobe. They're like, oof, we're not sure about you vertically lifting. And I was like, okay, then let's take apart the Millennium Falcon this year. And there we have a Venator. You mentioned dusting it. I can't dust that. I keep seeing Facebook adverts for like a
The little
dust cleaner
blower.
Hoover.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, that's got to be a scam. I don't trust those sorts of ads. But I'm sure you can probably buy a handheld vacuum somewhere that will do it. Just not one that's called Lego Duster or something. But it's a great point to bring up because, as you said, if they're marketing to collectors, but I wouldn't even be rude. This sounds really horrible, like capitalism, but like buy Wicked Brick. They've got a
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
thing going. Buy them, invest money into them. I don't know what that means, what the costs are. I'm not well, Lego can afford it. Let's be honest. But it's the sort of thing like you've got a great company, and Lego's always been very patient with secondhand markets. Bricklink they bought a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of years ago. They haven't changed much about Bricklink, to my understanding, but it's more of them, I guess, to oversee what is essentially their a secondary business. And something like Wicked Brick could easily do the same. If they had the right investments, could bring in more staff, could do more stuff. I'm sure they'd sell even more units if the cost could come down too. So it's a really good thing. I'm glad you brought that up. And kind of stick with me. We're going to head into the rest of the sets now. So we're at number 10, and we're going to take in turns one each. And these are the sets we've chosen ourselves. These aren't like a combo one. The other may have spoken about and we'll chat about. But going with number 10, do you want to talk about the first one?
Yeah, my first pick for this was, and now I don't even know if I'd want this either as a diorama. A lot of my picks you will find are diorama or MIDI scale because that's just where my collection head is right now with Lego sets. That's what I want them to be. So my first one for this pick is Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan at the beginning of the Droideka standoff. Basically, yes, I want that door. I want
Yeah.
the scorch mark in it, done in Lego bricks. I'd love to put some orange and yellowy Lego bricks together in that door, the little one squares would look amazing, or the little round ones would look fantastic. A couple of droidicas and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon in standoff position. Trade Federation, like that opening. I mean, you get the opening when you play the Lego game. Takes me
Yes.
back to playing episode one, the game when it came out, the initial
PS1
Lego
game.
one, which is episodes 1 through 3, and you had to play it, and it was just fantastic. It's just, I think it's a nice set. It again, it does everything. It tells us again. I'm just going to use it, but it tells that story moment, and that's what I'm looking for when I put a Lego set. I don't want to sit and I mean, I have a son, 8 year old, who loves building and taking apart Lego and taking minifigures apart and putting them together with other ones, and it makes me sad inside because I can't handle it when he does it. But he does, and he loves that, and that's perfect for a child of 8, and you should expect that. But I want my sets to look mighty, and there are moments, and that for me is from episode 1 again coming to this weekend. I can't wait to go see it in the D box and get thrown around in a pod race. But this at that moment for me is kind of the start of that journey for the movies, and I'd love to have that as a display piece.
I'm with you. I mean, I'd go for diorama on the basis that I'm like, yeah, I see things, I'm like, that's a great scene, I want that. Don't touch it, don't move it. Give me a floor, give me a door, give me everything. But the two of those sets I mentioned when I restored my childhood collection, the original 1999, there are two sets, and back in the day, you had to buy two sets to do this. They're probably about £5 each. One set has droids and Qui-Gon and
Yeah,
like half a door. The other set had the droidicas and Obi-Wan. And when you did this pick, I just had this like nostalgia pump in my head. Like,
yeah,
it's like them remaking it now. And
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
anniversary as well, as you said. It's rightfully to think about that. And I just thought, I was like, that'd actually be, but it's not something I'd ever thought of. I was like, actually, you now you've said it, that's a no-brainer. It's like the Luke on Dagobah. That wouldn't have been everyone's first thought in episode 5, but I
yeah,
actually think that's one of the best ones. The trash compactor, one of the best ones. It wouldn't have
yeah,
been people's first thought, and something like that is a bit creative, and you can get a great Qui-Gon quote. We know they're getting longer quotes now as well for the
yeah,
things at the bottom. But it's a great idea. I'd love to see something like that.
yeah.
And sticking with episode 1, if I talk about number 11, this photo is dreadful, by the way, so apologies. It's actually easier than hardly anything to get some of these photos these days in high res. Because every time you search something Star Wars, it just comes with merchandise, not still from the films. We have, I believe this has been released twice before in Lego. You know, they sort of do it back in the early noughties, then again,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
the early tens. We have the MTT tank, which hasn't been done, I believe,
wow.
since at least the early 2010s. And this is an interesting one with me 'cause it's become this modern day meme for the Japanese Pepsi cooler
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
if
with the
you've seen
heads
that.
on
But
there.
yeah, they go for like 400, £500, and I'd love to get one, but I can never afford one. But I remember seeing the Lego set as a kid, and I really wanted it, and I wouldn't even know the price back then. And when I got the DK book many years ago with all the sets, I loved seeing the MTT stuff, and I just thought, now for this May the 4th, they've given. I wish I had the set in my hand, I would have showed it, but now we've got this great little droid carrier. I'm like, is it time to do this? Maybe not a UCS, maybe just a bigger set,
Yeah, yeah.
like one of them, like they're like the last level before their UCSs, I always call them. But it's time to, we've seen them, and this is kind of something I maybe criticize the sequels for. It's so much harder to do a lot of the merch for the sequels, because a lot of the sequels, it's TIE fighters, and we've had that in originals, and it's TIE and it's X-Wings, we've had that in the original, and there's a lot of original stuff, of course, and updated stuff, but the prequels visually and creatively is so distinct for the clones, for the droids, and I think, the Venator coming out last year is not something I ever thought would come out, and I think that is a sign they are going for that audience now. That some of these sets, and there's a lot of clone stuff. You've got the Great Gunship set, there's a UCS which is now retired, which I've missed out on. Now it's time to do some droid stuff, and I think the MTT would be one. Again, maybe it's my Phantom Menace brain ticking, but I think that's maybe one that people haven't seen and done in so long. They should get away with doing it.
It's weird. I was watching. I've fallen into some YouTube traps sometimes, like everybody does, and watching people look at old Lego Star Wars sets has been one of those videos I've caught recently. And you see that set, and in your head, you remember this huge thing. It looks so basic, and it looks so small still when you see it now as to what Lego is now and how basic a build it is. And it came with like 12 battle droids, which are the one figure I love that they've never changed the design of. It's up since the day they came out. It's the same legs, the same body, arms, and the hair. It just, I love how that's exactly what it was. But yeah, it's a lovely set, and because it's that, and it was so basic a build, it's definitely one you could recreate and make a really nice set. I mean, they did the Sandcrawler, and that's very much big
Yes.
brown vehicle. So you've got to think that it wouldn't be far away from that, and it would be smaller than that because that's a huge set. But it would be amazing, and you could get like just hundreds of battle droids in it. You should get hundreds of battle droids in it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And moving aside from episode one, we'll talk about your next pick if you want to go for that.
Yeah, this was again. We were back to sort of that dual series thought, and I've always wanted Palpatine's office from the prequel films. I love that red office. I love his little back room. I love all of that. But if it was going to be one thing, it was going to be him lying on the floor. That's what I want. I want a broken window. That's the picture that has come up with Palpatine on the floor, Force lightning out of his hands, Anakin watching over, and Mace Windu standing above him with lightsaber with a broken window behind them. Oh, chef's kiss, and that could be. I think it would be a fantastic set. Even just the curve of the window that he's lying in, would look incredible. It's always been one of those scenes that I harken back to when I think about the prequels. It's one of my favorite moments. That birth of Darth Vader coming through, for me, just signals the start of almost like the start of the original trilogy. When we get that moment, it just brings everything together. I think it would look amazing.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you that I believe that set now goes for tons. Like it's become one of those historic sets that people chase up, and the minifigures. I don't know if it's only Kit Fisto or something I'd heard, but it looks great. But as you're right, if it were a diorama, it's a scene that lends itself to build the window, to build the office, the curve as well would just be a lot of
Yeah,
fun. And again, it's the prequels, people would pick it up. You could get, I hate them, the little lightning hands that Palpatine has. But
yeah,
that's maybe the one time I'd probably actually leave it turned on if you get a good Mace
yeah,
Windu
yeah,
moment. And I just think again, there's so much potential with these sets, and it is I think, as I said, diorama for me will bring in a lot more collectors like myself who want to now
yeah.
collect those rather than other things. Like I don't care about any normal play sets that are going to come out. Like I've got no,
That,
but you put a nice little quote on it. I don't know what you'd put for the Emperor quote if that was set. Would you just put like gasping
unlimited
into
power.
the
It would
air?
just literally say in block capitals, unlimited power. That's all it would say, and that's all it would need to say. It'd be superb. But like you're saying there, like to look at things like sets that you do, like I don't want a set that's just a play set. I think I should. Well, just before we came on, I've got the Tantive hallway that they've just brought out recently
Yeah.
for the 25th anniversary. Now there are instructions online you can find where someone has adjusted it so it looks much more like a diorama set than the set that's out there. It's a bit broken. Like some of it's not quite there. It's the overall design's not perfect, but again, it's a play set. It's got playable actions and things on there, so that's how they've built it. But someone has modified it just slightly with everything. It takes about an extra 100 bricks to make it into a diorama set. No quote in the front, obviously, but the rest of it is all there, and it looks fantastic. And that's how I'm gonna when I build mine. That's what I want to build it to. But yeah, so there are still a set of playability, and I'm not saying for all they should stop that. Absolutely, kids should have Lego. It's a great thing for them to have and build and create mess throughout the house and leave bricks for you to stand on every now and again. But it's part of like I'd hate to think when I've been in childhood without having Lego around. It's always one of those just things that's always been present.
It's something that I mean, I know with different generations, but I didn't have a clue until I was older that Lego Star Wars was the first ever IP that
License.
Lego
Yeah,
licensed.
yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense that it would be Star Wars would be that first property to go out to Lego as well. And it was the same for the video game. It was the Lego Star Wars video game that kickstarted that new era of Lego games. And it's big. Lego's such a big thing for so many people that I'm kind of not lucky. I'm lucky that I got to grow up with Star Wars, but I didn't get the originality a lot of older people got. And I'd
Yeah.
imagine that'd have been a radical thing to see that in the late 90s. Like, oh my God, weren't Lego on the verge of bankruptcy? I could be
Yeah,
wrong, but I
yeah, they were
feel like
heading on the
Star
way
Wars
out.
helped
That
Lego as
I
well.
think there was their not Ninjago, the one before that, the robot type one. There was that kind of got them almost back, and then
Bionicle?
yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, and then obviously episode one was coming out, and Star Wars pretty much would license their name to anything. If you look at the
Yeah.
merchandising for episode one, if you wanted Star Wars written on something, you could find it without much hassle. But yeah, Lego took that license, and it was huge from the moment it came out. People buying those sets, snapping their hands off, pulling sets out, especially back in the day when you got like little sets that were say like £10 for a little set with three minifigures in a £10 set. I remember the Luke getting the Luke arrest one where you got the Luke, you got
Yep.
a stormtrooper and
And a guard.
a guard, and it's like that for like £10. It's just oh my word,
Yeah, I love those original designs as well. The yellow faces, everything
yeah,
like it's, and that's the only thing I'll criticize Lego's 25th anniversary for is the anniversary minifigures. They should have just done Phantom Menace characters, like how in 2019 for the 20th anniversary. Yep, you've got one of them from the book,
yeah. I've got the
the
Darth
only
Maul
one
with
so
the
far.
with the
Do you see my
25
logic though?
on the back.
They just, it just needed to be Maul, Kenobi, Qui-Gon, Anakin, Padme, done. Five,
Yeah,
six if you want Jar Jar as a bonus. Like that's the one thing I'm really good about. I know it's a petty thing to moan about. And maybe that means there'll be maybe a set later this year for the fans. I doubt it, but
yeah. It would be
um
nice because I've got the 20th anniversary figures all in a box, like a box frame, when they all came out last year. So I think they look fantastic. So I would have liked something like that again. I think the random selection of figures we've been thrown this year for the 20th anniversary, for me, don't hold a lot of weight in wanting to collect. Like the
Saw
Lando one,
Gerrera.
I bought sets because I wanted the figures to have that
Yeah.
collection. Whereas this year, I won't do that for figures. Like I don't want the Darth. Was it Darth Bane or Darth Malgus? I think is in one of the sets. I can't even remember.
There's a clone,
That's how
isn't
much it
there?
doesn't matter to
There's
me. Yeah,
Saw Gerrera, a clone. Yeah,
yeah.
one of the old legend ones. Probably a droid somewhere too.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't appeal to me the same way as say like getting a series of figures from. It could have been a prequel era, it could have been a sequel era, it could have been obviously with 25 years of episode one. It was always probably going to be more aimed towards the prequels, which would have been great to get that. And then you could have had the same 35 years have or 30 years have a set for the sequel. So yeah, it's a shame that they didn't kind of follow down that route.
No, I agree. And sticking with some prequel stuff, the next pick, you sort of had this on your list, and I had it on mine, and I think this is one that's probably going to be on 90% of people's that have always followed Lego Star Wars. A set which has never been done, and I sort of understand why, but there becomes a time when they need to pull the trigger on it. It's the Lego Jedi Temple for very obvious reasons. And this is where I'm going with it. You've put in your notes that like the new Hogwarts is like a mid-scale set, and I
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
get that. And at first, I thought of Lego. Is it Lego architecture they call it, where they do famous
Yes, yeah, yeah.
buildings, and it was great. And then I'm not saying use this, but then I previously
UCS
had
would be incredible.
uh,
Do you have a full floor of your house?
I had the Lego Hogwarts, the first, not well, technically I do have the very first one from 2000 or 2001, sorry, but I have the very first Lego Hogwarts big set from like
Yeah, yeah.
2018, maybe. I think it
Could
came
be.
out. It was before I moved because I sold it when I moved because I had no room for it, and I did well to sell it because that bedroom was then became a COVID room for someone to work from, so that set would have had to have gone. Um, it was incredible. It's still on sale. They've not vaulted it. I think they've upped the price of it like that original UCS Falcon, which is so strange. I think it's like 450 quid now, something ridiculous. But the front of it is this incredible, incredible Hogwarts set. Then you turn it round, and it's like a dollhouse. That every single room has micro figures. I think they're called. Don't care about those, but it was. Do you remember this and this and this? And it was this really, really great. And this is why I never liked that Death Star set they did, where it was just a circle of scenes. Yes, the scenes look cool, but it doesn't look like a Death Star. It's just a circle with clips of things in. Like I never took to it. I liked it. I never saw that as I got to get this set one day.
Yeah.
But this Hogwarts one, and I was thinking of the Jedi Temple, and I was like, if you had the Jedi Temple building, and then you wanted to turn it around, and you could have a very small scale like the Hogwarts, and not as, it doesn't need to be as big as that 'cause Jedi Temple's not as big, but you could have some clones walking up with Anakin at the front. You could have the library. You could have obviously a mini Jedi Council somewhere. We'll talk about the Jedi Council shortly. You could have so many things from across the films, the games that the Jedi
Yeah.
Temple's appeared in. That I think there's enough there that you could do. It's almost like a three quarters, isn't it? Like it's above a mid scale, but below that UCS.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be a one and done, and people would want it. because it would look again. If you don't know the Jedi Temple, that's fine. But the people that know, because yes, it's a square with a couple of lines. We get it. But I just think there'd be enough potential to fill in a bit of the inside as
Yeah.
well. It's a soft option, but again, like it's what we think of. But if you want to go to your next pick, where it might be a little bit better, if I'm
Yeah,
honest.
let's just jump inside the Jedi Temple to the Jedi Council, and this has been. I've only seen it a few times. I've seen it. Obviously, they did it in the Hasbro figures, like the three-quarter scale, where you got a figure and a seat, and you could build the whole set with about 5 sets. And I've always thought it'd look really cool, but I'd love to have all those figures sat round in a little Jedi Council room. I just think you'd get a lovely view, like maybe you'd have like a top down so you could see the flooring and everything. But I think it would be a really nice little set to have, or maybe a little Anakin being tested. Well, if you get a Mace Windu that's just looking sternly at him or shaking his head very slightly, it'd be really cool. But yeah, it's just a set I think would look. It just for me that just again, it's just an image. Like yeah, Jedi Council. That's what I want to see. Like full cast of characters. Obviously, would have to be quite a big set because you'd want every council member. You don't want empty chairs and like three minifigures. You want the whole lot. You want to be able to sit down. Look, there's Yaddle over there. Where'd he go? We don't know. Do you watch Clone Wars? Yeah. So it was fine. But yeah, I think it would look a really nice set.
I think again, people want the minifigures, and I feel like Lego is slowly opening up now to people just want minifigures. We can do some of those sets where we basically just give you minifigures. There's a
Yeah.
really obvious the June Ornithopter comes with like pretty much the whole June cast. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, they weren't all in the Ornithopter, but I get a giant Baron Harkonnen figure. That's great.
Well,
And maybe
yeah.
I don't know how they'll do another June set. Maybe they'll try, but yeah, I love that they're now embracing that a little bit more. That people do want, and I guess the stigma in the past was people would just sell minifigures online. But
Yeah. Of
ultimately,
course.
I think they know people like to have minifigures too. And we're never going to get the Star Wars blind boxes, are we? Because they would have happened by
No.
now.
Yeah.
I always wondered why. I don't want to know. I'm sure it's written somewhere, but
It's probably
um,
licensing somewhere they can't have it. Yeah, but I'd love a series of Star Wars blind bags that
could
you
you
can.
imagine how disgraceful the ratios would be of like there'd be one really rare figure, but you're gonna have to get like 50 stormtroopers to get
You're
this
gonna
rare
have to
figure
buy a
once.
box of them to just go through and just get the one
Because
out. Like
it's
that's it.
cardboard now, right? So people now
Yeah, not
can't
even a
do the
bag. You
old
can't.
bag trick.
Oh, honestly, I used to spend which one I did the Muppets one and the couple of Disney ones where I'd go with my sister into Sainsbury's and you just sit and just fiddle with the bags for ages until security came around and looked at you like, oh, I'm wandering away. Okay.
It's not hard not to do it there. And again, there was a lot of not money in that, but people would know and then just sell the really rare ones online for loads. And yeah, I'm glad that I don't like the cardboard, the non.
Yeah.
I don't really care about having cardboard, but it works for them, and it takes out that market that people aren't just going to know what they're buying to sell online.
And not that
But
I'd ever say it happened, but certainly if you got 2 bags of those Lego blind bags and dropped one onto the weights thing after you scanned it, it never picked it up. So you drop a second one just onto the scales without scanning it, and it picked up as one. And I'm not saying that ever happened, but maybe it did. Totally did. It's as close as I
always
ever got to
works.
shoplifting as a crime.
Imagine that getting caught, and it's Lego, sir. There's lucky.
That's a three
If
pound
it's
Lego
like the old
figure.
sticker books. It's the old sticker books. Like when I used to work at retail when I was younger, I used to buy the boxes of 100 packs. And they said someone
Yeah.
stole a box. Like, what do you mean someone stole a box? To go, a box is gone. I was like, no, I bought that on my lunch break. Um, not anymore. Now even Panini's too expensive. But yeah, let's talk some more Lego. So I've got a UCS coming up, and this is one that I think we're going to get, but unfortunately not the version I want of it. And to make things very obvious,
Yeah.
it's the old N1 Starfighter. I believe actually this was the first ever UCS Star Wars set. But if you look at that UCS set, it just looks like a normal set from 2000 or
Yeah.
maybe even the year 2000. It's not a great set.
No,
This
it did have
being done in
silver tips.
2020,
It had silver tips on
yeah,
the
that was it,
wings, and that's how it was
and chrome.
UCS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was literally it. It's because it had I think a few chrome plates, and they go for
Yeah.
a lot of those chrome bits. But this set, it feels inevitable eventually. And again, I don't want to criticize the tie set that came out this week. Oh God, tie and scepter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it's another UCS set. There's been so many TIE fighters, TIE this, TIE bombers. There's been X-wings, there's been Y-wings, there's been A-wings. Come on, guys! Like it's the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace. Please, like I don't even think there was a TIE Interceptor in '99. You can't even say it's the 25th anniversary of Lego Star Wars. Here's a 25th anniversary set. I just again, I think the prequels time is coming for some of these
It
bigger
is.
sets,
Yeah.
and I've just got to be patient, and my wallet will be more grateful. But the N, I'm just surprised we haven't had the N1. And I thought after the Mandalorian, I was like, oh, we're going to
It's
get
there
an
to be
M1
done.
set.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've got a feeling they'll do his ship probably before they do the yellow one.
Oh, well, I was saying, especially with Mandalorian Grogu, what, next year, the
They'll do
movie?
a UCS, guarantee it. They'll do a
Yeah.
UCS for theirs, and we're still awaiting our chance. And I just want a little Rick Ollie figure. You know, forget young
Love
Anakin.
it.
Like we
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
had him in the pod. Get Rick Ollie. Like just yeah, incredible character. But sticking with Naboo,
Yeah.
what have you got next?
Mine is the other ship in episode one. Now, the biggest time I saw this when I was younger is the Naboo Royal Starship. It's a thing of beauty. It would be chromed up to the nines. I don't know how you get it that smooth, the finish on it, but I think it would look wonderful. They brought out a large version of, like, again, at 3 3/4 scale when episode one came out, and it was massive. It looked huge. I'd love it in Lego. And I don't pick many ships, like you'll see from my list. Again, it's mostly scenes and a couple of middies that are coming up, but that I think would look incredible as a UCS set. I don't know how big it would be. I have no idea how they would create all chrome pieces for it, but my god, I'd love to give them the challenge of making it.
I think if they could pull it off, they would. Because it'd just be a lot of flat. I feel like there's been a set recently where it's just been like flat pieces galore, and it's probably worked. But again, it'd be another one where you're exploring these different designs and the different designs because when George Lucas made the prequels, it was more about that. It's a new era. Everything is different. But and also that's not as common at the sequels. I like the idea that yeah, after the Empire been and gone, there wasn't new tech. It was
Yeah.
what was there before, and that also works within story. But it just makes it somewhat slightly frustrating that we don't get many new things. But to
Yeah.
their credit with stuff like Andor, with stuff like Mandalorian, as we said, there's been a lot of new designs, edited designs, and they've been able to play around that sandbox. They've had a bit more time than they did making these films, which we've also got that's imperative. And
Yeah.
also, a lot of these designs are new concepts out from the history of Star Wars, which is always great. That yeah, I mean, we're talking prequels. It's basically been on a Doug Chang Lego sponsored episode today. Because if I talk about my next one, sticking with the fact that there's once more, this is a UCS set, and this is one I feel like would sell incredibly well if they pulled the trigger. A Lego AAT tank. Um, I have the original set as a kid, and that was one of my favorite sets as a kid. Just the cubs, the bottom of the building, the design of the tank. It's like a tank, but scary and much cooler than real tanks. It floats. They've got these insane cannons. The droid pops out from the top. It's in the
It was just
battle.
about when you just said that. Literally, when you put the picture, when the image comes up of that tank, all I can hear in my head the sound of that cannon going
Yeah,
off. That's it, literally it's a picture. I can hear it. It's amazing.
that would look, and it would lend itself to that Lego build so
Oh,
well.
it's sitting on a
And
desk, lovely.
I feel like that would be again. If they've done the gunship, if they've done the Venator, I feel something like the AAT could probably pop up in the coming years. And again, I've said this about a lot of things, but I feel that that's one that if you're a Lego designer, you'd look at that and think that could be it. Like,
That would
but they
build.
haven't
That would
even
build.
done.
Yeah.
I know they do the smaller scale sets for like 30 quid, and they're okay, but the proper original colors, please. The way I don't,
Give us those
I
tan
understand.
tiles. Give us those tan tiles.
Yeah, and I appreciate the Clone Wars. The whole point of the Clone Wars, we've got different colors, units, regiments, blah 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 blah. I don't. Oh yeah, we've got a red clone gunship. Great, great. But we've got the original cinematic ones, and that's what I like, and that's me being snobby for my own list.
Yeah,
That's I can
totally
safely
allowed.
say that was my last Phantom Menace pick.
My next pick take us into the next movie, which will obviously celebrate an anniversary coming up soon, is Geno Serena. Now, it was kind of a pick because I recently saw, I don't know if you've seen Lego are releasing a book, a tabletop book, and for the life of me, I can't remember its name. It's about building in the
Oh
gap,
yes, is it
but it's like
celebrating the galaxy or something? It's the
something along
£130
those
book.
lines. It's like £150, I think, this tabletop book, but it looks incredible. In the back of that, there is, I was watching a YouTube video of someone who'd got it early to show people on YouTube, because that's what happens with these Lego builders. But there's someone who built a mock of Geno Serena, and it looked incredible. And it just made me it just made me want something on that dusty planet. I'd really like the arena and the posts with Anakin and Obi-Wan attached to them. Let's get a Reek, let's get
Yeah,
all those
an Aquay.
creatures, let's get a Django whose head is over the other side of the arena. I just think it's got massive potential for massive playability. This would be, you couldn't have this as sort of just a little scene. I think it's so big, you need a bigger arena to play in. I think that is definitely one that would be like, let's just throw minifigures at it. Let's get a massive set. I think it would be awesome. Loads of bricks just all over the place. I think it would be fantastic.
I think it'd be great. I'm surprised they actually haven't. I guess that makes sense if they haven't done it because they probably. This is probably something that I guess you kind of do it on a smaller mini scale because then it'd be so much smaller on the inside that
Yeah.
they're sort of stuck. But if they wanted to, if they put their mind, Lego can do pretty much anything. Like that's how I see it now. And if they wanted to do it, they can find somebody that can. But that would be a big one. And
Oh
that'd be a
yeah.
costly one. But it would look incredible. Um, where I'm kind of going, my next pick. It's in the thumbnail, so not going to spoil this. When I was thinking of this, was honestly the first, bar a couple of like the vehicles. I was thinking about what would I like that's maybe something people wouldn't think of or that's iconic, and then Binary Sunset popped into my head. And obviously, Lego doesn't play music unless it's the Lego piano, which I believe actually is a piano, which is
And the
remarkable.
sorting hat, so that talks,
There's a
not so
sorting
much.
had it, oh
Yeah.
bloody hell. I look at this, and we can hear John Williams, but look at this actual image on the screen. That is a set. You can have at the forefront left diorama half of
Yeah.
the Lars hut. You can have the crater. You can build a background. You can then have a little dropping thing to have the suns in, and one minifigure of Luke. Now, my original idea was to do the famous behind the scenes image to try and get a George Lucas minifigure because he loves. They
Nice.
love
Yeah,
us to
yeah.
death. There's not a definitive enough. Basically, there's a Lego Ideas thing that's gone viral, which is an IMAX camera, and it comes basically with Christopher Nolan. I was thinking, like, is there some like cool behind the scenes thing you could do for maybe George Lucas or John Williams? Like, officially, you probably can't
Yeah.
as a set, but Binary Sunset, I was like, that would just be again another display piece, and it'd be a one-off. You couldn't do that for any other scene. You couldn't have any lightsabers, toys. It's just someone walking, and I
Yeah.
just thought it would work. It's simple, does the job, and I think it would look. I don't even know what they'd put as the quote. Just like insert John Williams theme, like a few notes. They're going to print musical notes, like I don't know. And
I think it would just say Ray Skywalker. No, no, no one. No, probably not.
I mean, you could have Aunt Bruin and Chloe holding a baby Luke. You could
Or
you
the
could switch it up.
oh, you would just take Luke out of it and get two of the Lego skeletons and just lie them on the
Just chuck
floor.
it. Yeah, so it switches around between like night and day.
No disintegrations on the little panel. It would look amazing.
But yeah, that was my simple binary sunset one. What about yours? What's your next one?
My next one is back in the MIDI scale. Now I've got. I mean, let me just up here. Recently bought the Falcon MIDI scale one. After I got rid of the big one, I decided I had to have a Falcon still. So I've got the MIDI scale still to be built, as these things don't have boxes yet. So I've got that to build. But I've always been a massive fan of Hoth, and I love the big AT-AT, at whatever you want to go with, that they brought out, but in no way, shape, or form can I afford the nearly £800 that it is and
It's
still
gone up in
is.
price.
It's due to retire at the end of this year, and I think that's why. Again, they're taking that off, so that's going to go as well. So it's never been affordable in any way, shape, or form. I've never seen any deals on it. Even Smiths, who know me, sometimes do
I
like spend £100,
I
get
saw one. I saw one this week for the first time and 20% off, but it's still then like £600.
yeah, so it's still way outside of any budget I've got for buying Lego, even secret budgets that my wife's in the next room. I'll not be too loud about that I have. It's never feasible, and it's massive. It's huge. So I'd love in this new MIDI scale that they're bringing out. So the Superstar Destroyer, the Millennium Falcon. I'd like that, but I'd also like a snow speeder in with it as well. A scene with maybe where it's attached, so it looks like it's coming around the leg. So I think it would look really good together. But I'd really love a displayable at AT-AT at I love an at with a snow speeder. I just think it's a really nice piece. Plus, you could also maybe just pose that as the thought that you could take away the snow speeder and have the Falcon down as it's crashing. So there's a lot of different options with it as well. But I'd really love to get an at that you could just have on display.
I'm the same. They've always been the expensive sets. I don't think
Yeah,
there's ever been. I think as a kid, I can't remember what they were called. It had some tiny, tiny like micro scales, but they're in weird plastic boxes.
yeah, tiny
Um,
like a little round bit for the head and a tiny yeah.
yeah,
They were yeah,
and I'm just sort of, they've never really gone for that affordable mid-scale point, and I feel that this would lend itself to it. It doesn't need to be
no,
intensely expensive, as you said, and you could do enough with it. Um, I'm segueing off, sorry, talking about an expensive attack that we kind of forced to maybe, I believe, the most expensive Lego set on the, no, one of the most expensive sets. I think Cloud City still got the record.
yeah.
There was a
That's
UCS
probably
that
fair.
came out when
Yeah,
I was a kid. Definitely couldn't afford this. My parents couldn't, and I couldn't, and it's the one you look at, and I think potentially is the best one ever. The UCS Death Star 2. Um,
beautiful.
they just need to remake it in 2024. I feel this gets rumored every year, like
Oh yeah,
legitimately rumored every year. I don't care about the Death Star one. I don't need a ball. I need the cracks, the weird design, the fact it's not. It's one of my favorite designs in all of cinema, like the unfinished Death Star. Like it's such a scary image, let alone like iconic image. And that UCS set looks incredible. Whenever I saw it growing up, I believe it's like 2 grand to buy online off third-party markets.
there
I don't know how much it would. Did they do the smaller scale one last
was a
year?
small one.
As
I think was it last year the
was
mini
it?
scale for
Was it
the
the May the Fourth weekend reward or something?
might have been
Was
that
it
was one that
maybe?
I think you can still buy at certain places, but I think even that's about 60, 70 pound for that little small version of it now. Don't get us wrong, look stunning, but yeah, I know what you mean by that big one that you're seeing. It's just like looks it was perfectly done the way they had it broken up on the side. It's a beautiful set and oh, it would look amazing. I don't know again, I have no idea where I'd put it, but it is stunning.
Yeah, and I think with that, again, it's expensive, yes, but it's one that one day it will surely have to happen. And as you say, even a midpoint set would work, but a UCS one for that, I think I called the Venator my Lego retirement. I think the Death Star 2 would
That'd be
actually
it.
take that.
I'm done now. Yeah.
But jumping to your next one, we're almost at the end. We're on 22 now at 25. We're getting there.
Yeah, now this one it actually lines up perfectly with yours because mine was the Death Star 2 trench run. Now I have the original Death Star trench run, the diorama set they did, and that's in a lovely wicked brick box with a lovely background on there. It looks fantastic. But I've always loved this one in Return of the Jedi. I love the bits that strut out in like the red, like little pulls that we're trying to avoid, and the little bits of wall. So to be honest, it's not probably that much different from the trench run that we get now. There's probably not much more to add to turn it into the Death Star 2. But it just for me, I just really now they've done that one, I'd like to see that with maybe a little Millennium Falcon in a couple of X-Wings as well. Just I think it would look really, really nice. Just simple, but I love it.
I think it compensates the original as well, and it sort of
Yeah.
adds that. And if I guess next one, so my next one's not a UCS. I don't
I
know if it's
love
a
this.
diorama. I
I
mentioned
love
a
it.
set where people just want minifigures, and I wanted to try and see like not do I put a sequel to him for the sake of it? I was like, what defining image can I think of for the sequel films that aren't the jewels we spoke about or the moments? And I keep going back to the image that I don't think I can ever unsee with Star Wars, and it's quite simple. It's the Episode 7 reading moment. And I look at this, I see people in. I've got a very good friend who worked on a film that has this signed by most of the people in that photo. They worked on it, so it's understandable and it's incredible. It's like the image of the house. I've been in Facebook auto groups where people have this signed by everyone, which is insane. But this image here, get me a Lego diorama. I don't even care about the minifigures. I just want this room just done with chairs and sofas, just having all these, and it's what I mentioned that George Lucas one. It's having them not in character, it's having the
Yeah.
actors, and I don't know how it worked legally or whatever, but I just think an image like this would be so cool. I'd love a
In
little set like
grayscale as
this.
well, just everything in grayscale, so they don't even need to
Yeah,
color it. Just it
Disney
would look
Disney did a
stunning.
camera.
Yeah,
Disney did
yeah,
their camera last year, which looked great, and that was black and white, I believe, and it came with Walt Disney as a minifigure, and that's why I was thinking about this George Lucas, like what could you do
yeah.
for Lucas? And this is what I was then thinking. I was like, there are so many iconic images of George Lucas working on Star Wars, but it'd just be like one or two minifigures and nothing. Whereas this is an environment, it is everything, and everyone knows it. So it's not too serious. But I'd like to see again Lego go for adults now with more of their themes. I know film's very niche, like even within Lego. Um, I just would be very curious by what behind the scenes they could do. So I wanted to put this in there, and I just love this image. It's still one of my favorite images of Star Wars.
Beautiful. Yeah. But that still would be a lovely framed photograph. I think that would look really nice on a wall. It's just one of those pieces that's timeless, but it was that big start again of Star
Yeah.
Wars coming back to that massive release of Episode
The
7.
official cast announcement
Yeah,
was
it
that image
was.
as well. Like,
Yeah,
what? What do I? And what we must be going? Was it 2014? It'll be 10 years at any point. That photo came out
yeah.
very soon.
I've started been
Like,
watching sort of over this year. I've been watching. Obviously, I tend to watch the Star Wars movies every now and again. Just throughout a year, I'll watch them, and I'm up to the next one to do with Episode 7, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to it. It's came out, and it's one of those films that I adored it when it came out. I was just in love with this starting again, and it was massive as well when it came back out, and
yeah.
it really reinvigorated everything. And then obviously we had Last Jedi, and that split people of how they liked it, and obviously Rise of Skywalker. We'll not talk about that right now. But yeah, it's just I'm gonna have to revisit it, but I think that would look amazing. I've just seen it just have that hit of like, oh, I want to watch the film. So yeah, my next one, we're actually going back to sort of episode 3, really, or the prequels, because mine is the Senate building. Now, I've thought about this two ways, whether it be that outside look, where it has that sort of small mushroomed type look, but then more than likely what you'd really want to see is the inside of that place and all those chairs and all those set up and Palpatine coming up to the middle. I just think it would look fantastic. And you could set that as anything. You could have that set if you had it. You could have a political debate going on, or you could have Palpatine going crazy, throwing things around with Yoda, trying to avoid them. It sets up for so much stuff, and I think it would look amazing. Even just a half, like the back of it, so you get a little bit of what's going on, and just I think it would look amazing. Just it would make
I
me
think
giddy as a boy to have that. Just look at this.
I think the Senate building has become not even like iconic, but you look at the criticism of the prequels back in the days. Oh, no one wants politics in Star Wars, and it's like, wow, guess what, folks? That the building has become as iconic as almost anything else in Star Wars.
Yes,
And
sir.
even when Andor it was in that trailer, wasn't it? And everyone's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, we're getting the Senate building back, and oh, I'd love a set like this. And there's a way. There's a way to do it, and they
Oh
could
yeah, it
probably do
definitely
both.
is.
And I think it would sell people. The funniest thing is, you know, on instructions, it's like do this 5 times. You get to the pod, it's like do this 100 times. I'd be infuriated, but it'd be so worth it come the end.
Yeah.
And then you could chuck a little
You
Palpatine,
would be
Yoda
you'd be
throne.
sick of your life building that. Yeah, like you say, build 100 of these pods. Instructions closed.
Yeah, and kind of the last one we're going to talk about is one that not that I struggled with. I very obviously said, oh, UCS, oh, diorama. I've not said about any play sets because I sort of said they're not really my thing. Maybe this one's a bit more like your Tantine IV thing, where like you could build it if you wanted to. But I really like Narkina 5 Prism. Um, there'd be a lot of white bricks, and this is where I'm going for this. I don't know if it should be a diorama. I don't know if it should just be an old school set. It's a bit gross to tell kids like go play this, daddy. What's this? Well, it's this prison thing from where they basically work till they drop. So I understand why there's not been. I think it's been like 2 Andor sets total so
Yeah, yeah.
far, and there's not been much respectively for like merchandise. And I get it is more the adult thing, but my word, if you could do like one of those little stations with you could put Cassian in, you could put Andy Serkis in, maybe like the old geezer, I forgot his name that dies. Like you could do this as a £15 small set. You could do this as a £40 like 10 set. You could do this as a diorama if you wanted to. Find a way to get the Natakina present set. It would be great. I actually think this would sell a lot. And also, we need the little things that end up being part of the Death Star. So um, it,
Absolutely.
it would be again. It's my last one. It's a bit cheekier. It's not too serious, but that's what I thought. Was like I want to find a way to bring the Disney Plus stuff in. I think there was a lot of Lego sets for the Ahsoka series. They redid the
Yeah.
Ghosts. There's just been even the Bad Batch has had a couple of sets with the
Yeah, yeah.
ship, and there's just Andor. I think they did. I almost called him they Bill Turner, but it's like they've done Stellan Skarsgård's ship. They did a crash pod from the first episode, and I think that's it.
Yeah, there's
Um,
not been much else. But yeah,
and
I
I get
just love
it.
some. You could build a little builder set of just those minifigures, just different heads on those
Yeah,
uniforms.
prison outfits. Yeah,
Yeah, be like
choose your
celebration all over
fighter.
again.
Yeah, and that was a great thing. Celebration last year was the one way out run, which is I guess is going to become
Oh,
an annual tradition now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, this is it. And kind of sticking with this, that does round out our list of 25. We've got an hour and 10. I was kind of worried we'd go a lot longer, but I
Yeah.
think we've nailed it. We've not gone too
Yeah,
long. There's
just nice.
a lot of Lego sets. And as I said, it is May the 4th. We're here celebrating Star Wars. We're here celebrating Lego Star Wars. The Phantom Menace clearly has had a lot of shout outs today. It's probably the most. And the
Yeah,
reason why
actually,
is
yeah.
it's been in all of our heads. And by the time this video goes up, we hope you've all been watching it. We hope you enjoy Star Wars Day. We're all watching Phantom Menace at differing points across the
Yeah.
weekend. Both of us in 4DX at least once. I think Phil's watching it. There'll be a lot of people watching it. So there is going to be a lot more Star Wars stuff, but we do want to hear from people at home. So please do comment the Lego sets you'd love to see. Maybe comment your favorite Lego set you've bought or something you want to buy. As I said, appreciate Lego isn't the easiest of hobbies in terms of expenditure, but if you can get good deals, then you and there are always good deals to be had. There is never a Lego set that is like Black Series where it's on the market for 5 minutes and you'll never see it again.
Yeah.
Everything is overproduced, and when the retirement lists come in, the prices and they drop off more, and then they go up. And there's always a good time to get Lego. Keep your eyes on all the varying websites. Some of these sets may become reality. We've spoken about dioramas. I've got some Phantom Menace ones coming, as Dave did, and they'll probably end up at some point in the background of these videos someday. But that is going to do it for everything today. Dave, thank you so much for joining me, for taking time
Always a
out to
pleasure. Always a
end up going
pleasure.
from 10 to 25 Lego sets, but it is always fun talking Lego with you. And we will get some Wicked Brick updates as well. But that is going to do it for today. As a thank you all for watching. We will announce more videos on social media. When they're up, they're up. If there's been an Acolyte trailer today, maybe expect it in the next week. Maybe not immediately. There's a lot of things on this week with life and other things, but we'll be doing a lot of Star Wars stuff throughout May. And there'll be more regular uploads after this Wednesday, the 8th. So once that has been and gone, there'll be a lot more things back to normal. So once again, thank you all for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.